Welcome in, everyone. This is our weekly flow alerts recap for the week of December 30th, 2024 to 1/3/2025. This is the end of the year. It's a little shorter week where we didn't have a lot of flow, a lot of volume at the beginning of the week. And Wednesday we obviously had off. So a little shorter video this week, but as always, we're going to go through, and I do like to ask, if you're enjoying these videos, please hit that like, subscribe. It helps others that are trying to learn flow as well learn the proper way. So, and again, as always, I like to show this up front. I do post everything in real time. Don't edit any of my posts, and just try to keep it as transparent as possible. Obviously, everything's in real time in Discord, so again, anybody can kind of tell you that, so if you have questions on that. But this is our list for the week. So first up, Monday 12:30, we had the 124.84 BABA calls. So let's go back 12:30. So this one was an interesting one because they cut same day, probably passed some contracts off to somebody else. But here's our BABA flow at the time. Flow looking like normal buy. Didn't see IV staying the same. Drops a little bit here, but not on the same size. Kind of looking at it now, this probably could have been a sign of a sell, but kind of coming back here to the flow, we can see that about 1,100 contracts here. And then right after, we had some bid size. So this whale probably passed a good chunk of these contracts or closed some same day, because we can see that down here, that volume on the 30th not all carrying over only about 9,700 contracts, or 971, sorry. So, but looking at this, so bump this out to today. These did make a decent move though. So here's our original entry. These ended up hitting 360 here on the 31st, even 339 back here on the 2nd. Still running at about 3 today. So those contracts did make a move from 296 to 3.6. So that's a 21% gain. And again, for the people that may just be joining, I'm doing the full range of the contract. I'm looking for at least a 15% return. So 10-15% minimum return. So that was BABA. Those making that 296 to 360 move, 21%. Next up, we have the 221.12 RIOT calls being filled at 1.17. So another good one here is our entry right here. Had 32,000 contracts come in for about 3.7 million. These were getting a lot of hits. These were also posted on X. But looking at the flow here, come back down here to take a peek at how it came in. Keep on going. Let's see, because we had a lot of this come in. So here we have it starting to come in. So we can see that 115.11 IV being filled at the ask side here on a wider bid ask. Spots increasing here. So 1.13, you can see that spot coming up. That is just what it's being filled at here, which is the ask. IV is also going up here. You can see it continuing to go up here. Small little drop on the IV there, but again, this coming in above the ask. So to me, this trumps over the IV drop, because you're coming in above that asking price. So looking at these contracts, these took about 2 days to make a move. Entry here, they ran up same day, hit 135, but our high of the week came here right at close today. So hitting about 206 for a high. That is a 76% return here. That took about 2 days to make a move there. You kind of look at that net premium as well, going back about 7 days. Haven't seen a lot of that net put premium here, just that huge spike in that net call premium on the 30th when this flow came in, and kind of chopped for a day or two, and there we go, gap up today. Up next we had the 221.10 wolf calls. These are kind of sitting kind of flat right now. 48 days left on these, but these being filled at 70. They closed at about 60 today, so down about 14% on those. Still a lot of time on those. We can take a peek at the flow here as well. It's coming down here. See that big jump in that IV. Again, all ask side fills. Looks good there. You bump the net call premiums back. It's pretty flat here, but this one not making a full move yet. Contracts down about 14%. So up next we have BKR, and these are the 221.42 calls. These coming in here at 131, so we can see that whale here. Take a peek at the flow again. So repeated hits ascending fill, that just means that fill comes up here a little bit, and it's probably hitting that. Maybe we'll go to the next page and take a peek. So 29.08, 29.25. Yep, so we can see that IV coming up here. IV coming up. This is where you're getting that repeated hits ascending flow, because it's ascending here all the way up, and it looks like it ascended all the way up, and it wasn't just for a contract or two. So that's a good sign there. And these making a move, it looks like this was an interesting one too. So we had these coming on the 30th. Then we had another about 1,100 contracts here on the 2nd. Some carrying over, not a huge amount. So it could be of a partial add, but not a full add, just because you have that other volume in there too that day. But these are running from their original entry 131 to a high of 235 today. That's 80.77%. And again, that's the max return on the contract. Not expected to hold at the top. And these were probably, I'd say, red for about a day, flat red on those. So up next, we have a, let's see, I have a SPY trade from Discord. Didn't pull that up, but I will show everybody in here how I had it. So this came, these were for our hottest contracts a couple days ago. So our hottest contracts on the day, we had a lot of ETF SPY call flow here. Not sure why my picture's not loading, but we have the flow posted there. This was a flow and charts idea as well. Let me pop down to that. So again, for Discord that's watching this, this was our one setup for the week that we kind of liked. So again, we had that multiple whales on the 430, and it should load here in a second. There we go. So this was the original flow that we was supposed to be posted there. So you can see these were our hottest contracts. A lot of bullish net premium here. We also had the huge spike in that net call premium on that day. Pretty flat otherwise. And we were playing this with a bounce off that uptrend. So these contracts, I don't have them right here, but these made a move. I went with the 331, 615 calls since they were right in the middle. About 571 to a high of 682 today. Spent about a day and a half, 2 days red there, but saying about 19%. So up next we had RGTI call sells. So with call sells, you are wanting that premium. You're trying to collect that premium. So you essentially want the contracts to go to zero. Theta is your friend. You are selling those calls. So looking at these, and this was an interesting one because we had these come in at 320, and if you look at bid side flow, you're looking for the opposite effect of the ask side. You're looking for that IV decrease here, and the bid side fills. We're getting that right here. And you look at the premiums at the time, it was pretty flat here, not seeing much. We did have a lot come in yesterday, but these made a nice intraday move. If you sold premium here, you could have sold about 35% of that. These contracts were opened at 320 and hit a low actually on 1-2 of that 205. Again, the whale still has some time on these. They might want to try to collect some more premium, but this made a 14% move down on the day here. These came in at the high, and let's look at the chart on that. So these came in, I'm Central Time for those that are wondering, between 9 and 9:30 on 12/31. So our 12:30. So here they're 12:30 right here. So actually up a little bit more. 9. So we did make, it's not going to let me go back right there, but this was our day right here. So came in about 9:10. You can see that time there. We dropped all the way from 15.14 to a low of 14.60. That's about a 14% drop there. So that would have been a good short and or premium collection. NVO, this is our loser of the week so far. 104. These may have been sells at the ask. Can't always tell. The flow did look good. I mean, IV stayed up, being filled at the ask. Unless something happens within 13 days, that's our loser. So those are down 57%, which obviously the smart thing would be trying to cut as much quick as you can. You're not trying to let it drop that far. So up next, the 117 BE calls. I can bump this here. So our flow, this made a pretty nice intraday move into the next day. So again, IV staying up. IV drops a little bit here, but we pop right back up. Again, ask side fills. And that looked good there. Here's our flow right here. The whale entering here, you can see clearly it's an opening trade just based on that volume to open interest as well. These being filled at 115 and hitting a high of, what do we got, 2 on today. So that is a 75.44% return. Good return on that one. RGTI, so these calls came in yesterday. And here is our original entry, 120, so 121,000 contracts. Obviously, at the time, there was a lot of volume going on. Looks like that whale took some off here at the end of the day. Because kind of can tell that too by looking at the volume. Yeah, you got almost 3,400 contracts, only 1,000 carrying over. They took some profits there intraday. We look at the flow. That IV increases. Ask side fills. So there's your little run up intraday. Those make an intraday move of 120 to 310. 310 yesterday and 310 today. So you could have swung those and still had a good return. It's 158.33% on those. Next up we had Meta. Here's our Meta calls from yesterday. 500 contracts at $2, hitting a high of 238 today, and these gapped up. So they opened up about 19%, and whales still in on these, 20 days to go still. Again, looking at that flow, IV stays up. Ask side fills, looks good. Looked at the net premiums yesterday. Didn't really see a lot going on. There's probably a dip buyer there, but 19% on that. GM, these are down a bit. Here's your 2 whales coming in. You can see that volume all carrying over pretty much. We look at the flow. Jump in that IV when it comes in. We'll see what happens with those. ask side fills. And still 48 days on those. We look at the net premium here, pretty even. Kind of bump out 7 days just to look. Probably lean more bearish here. More bearish calls yesterday, obviously. But these closing at about 57 today, so they're down about 24%. And again, some of these that haven't made a move, feel free to do whatever you want with them. Just make sure to, as always, use caution, risk management, all that stuff. So Jack, these ones, again, gapped up a little bit here. These being filled at 130, they gapped up, opened about 150. So they opened about 15%. Looks like that whale's still in at about 104. So those did hit a max return of 15%. They're down a little bit right now, down about 25% or so, but 13 days on them. Kind of coming back, could be a discounted entry again. Volume looks to still all be there. And on to today, we had ARM, the 110, 139 calls. These made a spectacular intraday move here. So again, 763 contracts against 81 open interest, clean opening trade. Look at the flow as it comes in, 48.26. Flow looked good. Ask side fills, and it's a pretty wide bid ask there, so that's a good sign. We look at the net call premiums, and at the time this was 9,905. We could see kind of that net call premium picking up here and just didn't look back. So those making an intraday move of, let's go back here. So this 161, we hit a high of 490 today on those. That's a 204% return. And last but not least, and these were done on our live flow and charts in Discord. We were doing live trading in there today. Live flow and charts, not actual trading, but we were looking at this. This came in live time, posted it in live time. So we had 4,000 contracts come in on next week's 110.21 sound puts. Very interesting here because these moved pretty quick. So these filled at 119 and actually hit a high of 187 here in about 20 minutes. Those made a 57.14% intraday move there. Pretty quick flow. Looks like the whale's still in here, and obviously you can see this right here, that huge spike in that net put premium. Clear as day. But that is all I have for this week. Little shorter week. If you're interested in joining Stock Hub, it's very affordable. You will learn a lot in here, and I recap all the flow that is posted. And if you're interested in trying unusual whales as well, too, feel free to use the discount code. Both codes are in the bio. Have a great weekend, everyone.